How to establish credit history. In order to accumulate assets, you'll probably need loans, and in order to get loans, you'll have to have credit. A good credit history is a history of on-time payments. A poor credit history reflects otherwise, showing late payments, bankruptcies, or repossessions. If you have no credit, lenders will be very reluctant to lend to you, because you haven't demonstrated a history of being willing or able to pay your debts. However, since credit history is just an account of what's happened in the past, you can't just create it out of thin air, which puts a new borrower in a difficult position. If you can't get a loan because you have no credit, and credit comes from paying back loans, how do you build credit in the first place? Since creditors make money from debtors, they want to lend money. You just have to know what kind of credit to apply for and how to show you are a stable person in ways not linked to your credit history. Method 1: Increasing your odds of getting approval. 1. Open a bank account. When a person with no credit applies for a line of credit, the creditor must look to factors other than the applicant's credit history and score to decide whether to issue the credit. Although not having a bank account doesn't necessarily mean you don't have money or legal sources of income, it is far more likely for criminals and the impoverished to lack a bank account. Since criminals often don't pay back loans and the poor can't pay back loans, not having a bank account makes it much less likely you'll be granted a loan. It's best if you have both a savings account and a checking account. Almost every major bank offers free personal checking accounts and savings account with low minimum amounts. 2. Establish consistent sources of income. Any potential creditor will want to know you can pay back the credit extended, and they'll need more substantial verification than your word. Therefore, you should establish consistent sources of the table income before you apply for a new line of credit. Although anything with a paper trail will be helpful, the best source of income verification is a paystub. Paystubs show wages before and after taxes, hourly rate, hours worked, and total income year to date. 3. Don't move around too much. When you're applying for some types of credit, like home loans or auto loans, it's common for a creditor to ask you for your residence history. The more often you move around, the less stable you seem, and the less likely to be extended a great deal of credit. Banks usually ask for 3 to 5 years of your residence history when you're purchasing a home. If you're getting an auto loan, you're most likely to get a lot of questions about your residential history if you're getting a loan from a buy here, pay here lot, and not getting a loan through a conventional lender, like a bank or credit union. 4. Apply for your first line of credit through your bank. Whether you're getting a credit card, home loan, auto loan, or personal loan, if you've got no credit history, you should apply through your bank before you go anywhere else. They'll have a better idea of your reliability than any other potential creditors would. Method 2: Establishing credit. 1. Get credit for paying rent on time. A lot of people who have little or no traditional credit do rent a home or an apartment and pay rent on time. Most renters don't get credit for their rental payments on their credit report, but that doesn't have to be the case. There are several services which, for a fee, will report your rental payments to one or more of the major credit bureaus, and tell you which credit cards and lenders will take your rental payments into account. This can be a big help in establishing credit if you have little or none. There are quite a few rental reporting services, all coming in at varying price points. One of the best is RentTrack, as they report to all 3 credit bureaus and are priced very modestly. 2. Obtain a credit builder loan. The term credit builder loan is somewhat of a misnomer. In reality, it isn't much like a loan at all. While you might apply for a credit builder loan like any other type of loan, the bank doesn't give you the money it lends. Instead, it deposits the entire amount in a savings account. You make monthly payments on the loan, and when it's completely paid off, they release the funds to you. While it might not be ideal, a credit builder loan can also be a good way to establish credit when you're just starting out. Credit builder loans have their good points and bad points. The advantage of a credit builder loan is that it does usually improve your score by about 30-40 points. The disadvantage is the interest. You still pay interest on the loan. So it's less like a loan than it is a subscription service to improve your credit score. 3. Find a co-signer. Finding a co-signer is one of the most effective ways of establishing credit when you have none. A co-signer agrees to make payments on the debt in case you default. They assume responsibility, and it is their creditworthiness dictating the terms of the loan. Co-signers are also difficult to get. In essence, the co-signer is taking out a loan they don't need and hoping you pay it back. Very few people are interested in putting themselves in that position, so don't be surprised if a few people tell you no before you hear yes. 4. Get a secured credit card. Secured credit cards are a little like credit building loans in that they're not really credit, they are subscription services that improve your credit score. The subscription costs come in the form of interest and other fees. You secure the credit card with a cash deposit equivalent to the line of credit. If your deposit was $500, then you'll have a credit limit of $500. You use the card as normal, making payments on whatever you charge. After a period of time, your credit limit will either be raised, or if your credit score permits, you can apply for an unsecured card and cancel the secured card. Method 3. Using credit wisely. 1. Check your credit reports and your credit score often. You can get a free credit report from each of the credit bureaus once a year, meaning up to 3 different occasions. The report is a comprehensive picture of your credit history, what you've paid and when you paid it, what your debts are, and when you applied for new lines of credit. Your score is an estimate of your potential credit risk. They are 2 measures of your financial health, and it's important to know both. Check your credit report at https://annualcreditreport.com. Check your credit score, for free, at https://www.creditkarma.com. 2. Make your payments on time. Payment history is the biggest single factor determining your credit score, accounting for about 35%. It's simple advice, but easier said than done. Nonetheless, over the long term, it's the best way to rehabilitate your credit. 3. Establish diverse sources of credit. Once your credit is rehabilitated to the point that you can qualify for a loan, you should take out a small loan or line of credit in a different form than the type of credit you already have. The mix of credit is only about 10% of your total score, but it is a factor. For example, if you only have one credit card, purchase an appliance on an installment plan or take out a small personal loan. It's never a bad idea to save up the amount of the loan before you apply, put it in a separate account, and simply have the loan payments automatically draw from that account. 4. Don't use more than 30% of your available credit. If you've got a credit limit of $1,000, you should be able to charge $1,000, right? Actually, if you want to keep your credit score in good shape, it's best to carry a balance of no more than 30% of your available credit, and no less than 10%. This is called the amounts owed section of your credit score, which isn't the most straightforward name. It means the amount owed relative to your credit limits, and not the entirety of the amount of debt owed. If you can't afford to get your balance down below 30% of your limit right away, one possible fix is to call your credit card company and ask for a higher credit limit. 5. Don't close lines of credit. If you cancel a card or another line of credit, the total amount of available credit you have will lessen, which will negatively affect your score. If you have one card you don't use very much, charge a small recurring bill, like a phone bill or a trash bill, to the card. That will keep it active and with a small but manageable balance.